said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves." Now think about this. When you become inaccessible, who really gets desperate? Who gets irritated? Who tries to provoke you just to elicit some emotion back? This reveals more about the other than about you, and it mainly reveals how much you are still being manipulated without realizing it. You keep giving yourself to please, to maintain peace, to not lose people who deep down were never really with you. And with every forced yes, every immediate response, every emotional reaction, you give away a piece of your energy. And at the end of the day, what's left? Tiredness, frustration, an emptiness you can't explain, but I'll tell you why. Because you are too available for those who don't deserve even a minute of your silence. This video is not about turning your back on the world. It's about choosing yourself. It's about learning what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole, authentic, complete. And this process begins when you understand that silence can be stronger than 1,000 arguments. That withdrawal, when it comes from awareness and not from escape, is an act of power. So I ask you now, looking into your eyes, how long will you continue to be controlled by the emotions of others? How long will you react like a puppet every time someone pokes your wound? Maybe it's time to cut those strings, to withdraw, to become a mystery, because when you stop being available, everything changes. You have been taught to always be present, to respond quickly, to please, to say yes even when you wanted to say no. Since childhood, you have been conditioned to believe that your worth lies in how available you are to others. But here's a truth that perhaps no one has told you with this clarity. This excessive availability is not a virtue. It is a prison. And as long as you continue to think that you need to be accessible all the time, emotionally or otherwise, you will be manipulated, drained, and forgotten as soon as you are no longer useful. Do you know why? Because being always available makes you seem predictable. And everything that is predictable becomes a tool. People start to use you as an emotional emergency button. They press it when they want attention, relief, validation, and then put you back on the shelf. But you don't realize this because you are trapped in an illusion that being present for everyone will make someone be present for you. But it doesn't work that way. Carl Jung spoke about the persona, this mask we wear to be accepted, loved, recognized, and it is exactly this mask that keeps you overly available. You say, "It's okay," when you are suffocating. You respond to messages immediately even when you are exhausted. You explain yourself, justify yourself, defend yourself, as if you owe something to the world. But the truth is that the more you place yourself at the center of others' stage, the more you disappear from your own. Being available all the time is a subtle form of self-abandonment. It is a disguised way of seeking approval, avoiding rejection, trying to control the image others have of you. But this control comes at a price, and the price is your peace. It is your vital energy being distributed as if it were infinite, when in fact it is limited, very limited. People who want you available all the time, in fact, do not want you. They want what you provide: validation, company, distraction, emotional comfort. But when you change, when you set a boundary, when you refuse to react, those same people get irritated, accuse you, say you are weird. It's not because you changed, it's because you stopped being functional for them. And here's the cruelest point. The more available you are, the less value others give you. Because what is too abundant becomes emotional rag. No one respects what they don't have to earn. No one values what is always there. So now, stop and think. Who truly deserves your time? Who deserves your attention, your presence, your listening? Or better yet, who deserves your absence? But before answering that, we need to understand one essential thing. Why do we react so much? Why do we give in so easily? What is behind this almost automatic desire to respond, justify, and please? The answer lies in what Carl Jung called psychic energy. And that is what we will talk about in the next part. Because your energy is all you have, and if you don't learn to protect it, someone will use it against you. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Carl Jung did not see the human psyche as an automatic machine that reacts to stimuli without consequences. For him, our mind is like an energy system, and every thought, emotion, and action consumes a part of that energy. The question is, are you choosing where your energy goes, or are you letting the world decide for you? Every time you react impulsively, you are wasting psychic energy. When you defend yourself against a criticism that didn't even deserve attention, when you respond to a provocation just to prove you are right, when you engage in useless discussions, when you try to please those who do not value you, you are spending your inner strength on what does not nourish you. And Jung was clear. That which you resist persists. The more you react, the more you bind yourself. People who live emotionally drained are not weak. They are misdirected. And do you know what happens to someone who lives exhausted? They become vulnerable. And when you are vulnerable, you become easy prey. Manipulative, opportunistic, and emotionally needy people can sense this. They notice that you do not know how to guard your energy, that you react to everything, that you're always trying to solve the world, and they take advantage of it. Jung said that a healthy psyche is one that knows how to keep energy within the system. This means knowing how to say no without guilt, knowing how to remain silent without feeling cowardly, knowing how to observe before acting. Because true power is not in reacting. It is in choosing when and how to act. And this is only possible when you know yourself well enough to recognize your own impulses. How many times have you lost sleep over an unresolved conversation? How many times have you spent hours ruminating on what you should have said, or trying to understand why someone treated you poorly? This is energy being drained without return. You are keeping alive ghosts that should have died long ago, and feeding dynamics that only exist because you insist on responding. Psychic energy is like a force field. When well guarded, it creates presence. You enter a room and command respect without saying a word. But when poorly managed, you become invisible, reactive, fragile. And the world has no mercy for those who give in easily. Therefore, start observing your own triggers. What makes you react automatically? What makes you lose your center? These are the exact points where your energy escapes. And that is where you need to work. Not to become cold or indifferent, but to be selective, to be sovereign over yourself. And here comes one of Jung's greatest revelations. When you conserve your energy, you break the projections that others place upon you. And that bothers a lot, because now we are entering a dark territory, that of silent manipulation. In the next part, we will explore how opportunistic people feed off your energy and why your unavailability completely disarms these games. Get ready to look into the eyes of those who have always drained you without you realizing it. You think you are in control. You believe your reactions are conscious choices. But the truth is darker. Most of your emotional responses are programmed. And those who understand this manipulate you easily. Opportunistic people don't need to raise their voices, threaten, or force situations. They just trigger the buttons you've left exposed, and you react, always. Carl Jung called this projection. The psychological mechanism through which people project onto others what they cannot see in themselves. But there is another side to this phenomenon that few notice. While others project onto you, you also become the receptacle for these images. And the more emotionally available you are, the more you become a blank canvas for these projections. You know that friend who only reaches out when they are in crisis. That partner who always needs you to save the day. That person who praises you, but only as long as you are useful to them. None of this is by chance. They are not relating to you. They are relating to the idea of you, to the role you agree to play. And why do you agree? Because you are afraid of disappointing, afraid of not being loved, afraid of being abandoned. The most effective manipulation doesn't happen in shouting. It happens in the silence of guilt. When you feel that you owe something to the other, when you believe you need to be available, need to help, need to understand, even when it destroys you inside. And here is the central point. The manipulator doesn't need to control you. They just need you to keep reacting the same way. But when you stop reacting, the game breaks. When you start saying no, responding with silence, withdrawing instead of explaining yourself, the projections begin to crumble.